So let's have a look at the Mahadeva remix main break melody. And yes, the original is from Astral Projection. In that sense, credit to both artists. And it sounds like this. So notice in the original there's like kick drums, risers, more modulation because I didn't add any here. So there's a lot of stuff going on which we won't have in this like more simplified version. But I think it's fair and close enough to do a tutorial about this. So let's have a look at the melody, because I think this one is really interesting. First of all, there's a few things you can notice. So the grid is set to 16ths right now, but if we would set it to 32, then you can see the short notes are really kind of like short here, which adds to this feeling of choppedness in that melody. So if you would have those notes kind of like really dragged out, so that's really nice. In general, like for melodies, I do that a lot in my melodies as well, that you want to have the lower octave not so long. It's more like a gate in here. And then we have this top notes, and what you can see is that those top notes, they don't play like a really crazy melody here. It's more like a rhythm, you could say, which is changing like pitch in a kind of like gently way. Also not too many notes, and they're also really short gaps, let's say, which they jump like in the scale and pitch. So I believe this is like F Phrygian. Technically, those notes would also fit into F minor, but I think the track is like Phrygian. And then we have kind of like this stability here, which then gets completely like destroyed in the end, which does like this hook. And I think that makes this melody like really recognizable, that it's kind of like really easy here. Doesn't have much crazy movements in there, and just like a sparse amount of notes which do not do huge jumps. And then we have here in the end this kind of like hook, which really makes the melody recognizable, I would say. So check this out again. I think that makes it really cool. So let's have a look at the patch next. I think the best synth for this is actually Sylenth, because in Sylenth you get this like really nice detuned old school saw waves. This is actually the patch. There's not much about it actually. So we have 8 voices here on a saw wave and another saw wave stacked on top plus 1, also with 8 voices with a lot of detuning, and you want to turn off that retriggering, otherwise it sounds like a laser or like phasered or something. So if you turn that off, you get that kind of like sawish sound. And if you want to kind of like shave off a bit the highs as well, you could do like a low pass, which also would let you control this a little bit more. So in case you want to automate this, maybe less resonance. The more resonance you do, the more it sounds like an acid, which is not so nice, I find, resonance if you have a lot of voices. And it gets like a little bit thin. And here gets like a little bit less clear, so maybe between here. And a little bit of drive. And that's it from the main patch here. I also did like a serum version because I believe more people will have serum. So it's basically the same. We just put like 2 saw waves here, like stacked with detune. You can add this low pass filter with like a little bit of resonance. You can try like also like different steepnesses here. I added here the square wave as well, which also sounds nice. It's just like gently, so if you put it too much, it sounds which sounds cool, but not really the sound anymore, I would say. And what you can do is, and I actually forgot to tell this in the Sylenth1, you can do a little bit of lowering in the sustain here, give it some pluckiness. And if you want to give it more plucky, you can layer like a noise. So for example, like this. It's all gentle, you know, it's not like all like in your face. And also you can layer like an envelope on the cutoff. I didn't do the Sylenth1, and I find the Sylenth1 sounds a bit better, but I think it's more because of this synthesizer, because it has this more old school touch. But you could do the same here. You could use the mod envelope, for example, and put it like on the cutoff, put a sustain down, and then with the decay. So you just have to imagine this kind of like curve a little bit more than in Serum. So then you can get this. I don't think there's like a noise oscillator or something similar in here, so you would need to layer that outside the synth if you want to have that too. For the processing, I just went external this time because we have two synthesizer patches which you could have had like a look at, and then you can basically just transfer this. It's the same, like more or less, if you do it in the synthesizer or outside. Outside, maybe you have a little bit more choices because you have maybe more plugins. So the first thing, I put a little bit of saturation on here. Makes it a little bit more warm, I would say. Next, we should put this here. It's like a little EQ. So the EQ basically cuts the lows and reduces this resonance here in the low mid. You see, it gets like a little bit too fat down there, and if we increase that, kind of like remove the low mids and push the highs a bit, I feel it gets a little bit more this sound. Maybe like here. So just remove a bit of the low mids, especially I put it like on the sides and stereo, and here the same. I push the sides a bit more, but besides that, you can even simplify that into like maybe like 2 EQ points, like one going up here, one going down, and the low cut. So like 3 points, then you get it. Then the sound has this like panning in there. You can do this in the synth or just with like a tool like this here in Ableton. And I feel that adds to that choppy feeling, and I didn't sync it here, but if I would sync it, I would put it like to 16ths. So I feel that really kind of like supports the sound here. Then we add like a little bit of delay, not much. It's like a 1/8 ping pong dotted, low mix, low feedback. It gives a bit more wideness and feeling of room. It's not like this. It's just like a little gentle delay here and a little bit of reverb. It's actually a bit much. And then I compress the sound. Sometimes you want to do the compressor, if you do one, before the reverb and the delay, then you get it like a bit more separated and you're just controlling the peaks. Or if you do this, then kind of like squeezes it more together all into one sound. You see like a minor gain reduction -1, kind of like slow to medium attack to let the transients through and a slow release here. So that's almost like a 16th note. Ratio 4 I put here, and a little bit of knee. And you should always try if it sounds better like this. So this sounds more clear, I would say. And here we're kind of like compressing the whole thing. It sounds a little bit more, glued together, let's say. Without all the processing. But you can do any of those steps in the synthesizer. Just the EQs, I find it usually really bad to control in any of the synths. But obviously saturation. You got you can do the panning with LFOs. You have delays in there. You have a reverb in there. You have a compressor. You also have a bit more, let's say, options about the order. I mean, which you can do in Serum as well, but not in Sylenth, for example. I hope that gave you some insights in one of the greatest melodies of Psytrance, in my opinion. I really love this track. I dig this track. I played this track many times. We have an amazing Discord channel, the YTNK Discord channel, and I will upload the patch for you guys there, so you can check it out. I don't put a MIDI in because I'm not sure if that's legal, if that's in a track, or if that's kind of like copyright stuff, but the patch you can definitely download. So the whole chain here I will put in for you guys into the Discord channel, so you can have fun and mess around, make it better, and send me back, and then maybe I have even a better patch, or the whole community there, because we're sharing stuff there as well. So be part of the Discord channel. You find a link in the description box below.